coworker gets me fired. I waited many years for revenge. If revenge is best served cold, then my revenge was many years in the freezer, and this week was finally pulled out and had whipped cream and a cherry put on top before finally served. Background. So I worked for a company for almost a decade that had a small team consisting of 10 people doing commission work for businesses in my city. The owner treated us like family, knowing that we worked long and hard days, sometimes up to 60 hours a week. He paid us better than expected, bonuses and perks he negotiated with businesses that commissioned our work, and even gave the whole company a week paid off when his son was getting married so we could attend. We had our squabbles like any other family, and things weren't always bright and perfect. But this is to show how nice the owner treated his employees and didn't screw me over. After working there for years, the manager position became open. Since by then I was one of the most senior workers with the company, so I thought I would apply, and a few others did so as well. I didn't get the position, mainly because despite my experience at company, I didn't have a business administration degree. Someone who worked for the owner did, so he got it. Realizing the education I would have to get, the demand of this job, I thought long and hard and concluded that if I wanted to go anywhere in life, I would have to get that degree. Coming right out of high school to work for company was great, but if I wanted to do something more, I would have to go to university. I talked to the owner and gave my 2 weeks notice. When I explained what I wanted to do and why, he understood that I was trying to make something of myself. This all becomes relevant later, I promise. I love some subtle foreshadowing. Going to university, I found I had tuition covered through government grants, but not things like food, rent, etc. So I looked around and eventually found work at Company B. Company B was a retail store with a bigger staff than I had been used to, somewhere around 50 employees, but had such a huge employee turnaround that it was scary at times. Okay. You know when a company has like a fast turnaround rate that there's something wrong. They dealt with a wider range of goods from groceries to very expensive items. They had a certain niche clientele that they could order items for and catered to. I ended up working part-time in their warehouse and answered to the warehouse supervisor who answered to the manager. There were other supervisors for other parts of the story, but for this only, the sales supervisor is relevant. Skip forward 7 years. In that time, I got my BA degree and worked at Company B the whole time, going from part-time to full, and eventually applied for the warehouse supervisor position. I was interviewed, I got the job, and I've been supervisor for months when the manager and I hired Kay as a warehouse clerk. Kay isn't the one to get revenge, but she played a crucial part in the revenge. Then, Head gets hired. Head started out as a cashier, working quickly up the chain and brown-nosing as many coworkers as possible, including the manager. When a sales rep went on maternity leave, Head quickly jumped at the chance to work in sales and ended up permanently being a part of the team, then the sales supervisor soon after. Me and Head got along like oil and water. We butted heads over things constantly. She would tell the manager all the small things that I did, but called me a snitch when I reported the issue she was causing. She would badmouth me and my warehouse staff, talk over me at meetings to try and take credit for my ideas. She openly told coworkers that I was the cause of many issues and couldn't wait for me to leave. Oh, and she was never at fault. It would be the customer's fault, my fault, the delivery driver's fault, another coworker's fault, etc. There were times when we got along well, but few and far between. I get fired. Oh no. So one day, a very, and I mean very, expensive ring set, over $5,000 I found out later, ordered by one of our customers, comes in. Years ago, I set up a procedure for any type of jewelry so it would not get lost or stolen. The last step is, once we've done everything with it in the warehouse, we take it to the office and have someone put it in the safe immediately. This particular time, I was the one who received the rings. So once going through the procedure, told Kay that I was taking it to the office. The only one available who had the combination to the safe was I asked her if she could open the safe. She looked at me, looked at the jewelry box in my hand, and then said, "Put it down here on my desk. I'll put it away once I'm done this email." The next day, I get a call from the manager to come to the office. I head there to find manager, Head, and the HR consultant they pull in when some real stuff starts to hit the fan. Manager tells me the ring set has disappeared. I tell him the procedure I followed, and last I saw them was with Head. Manager tells me Head checked the box and the box was empty. Manager then pulls the box out. Sure enough, the box that the rings were in was completely empty. I swear to manager that the rings were inside when I checked them before even given to head. At this point, my word against hers by stroke of bad luck, the in-store video recorder had broken down days before the incident, so there was no way to verify what happened. It's kind of odd timing. We all know someone has to take the blame for this, and that's when head strikes, saying it was my fault since it was last seen in my hands. Manager asks if this is true. Then I realize that yes, I was indeed the last person to touch the thing, and I never actually saw Butthead pick up the box. Head gives me a look that screamed, gotcha. Manager and the HR consultant ask us both to leave. After what seemed like forever, I get called in. Manager tells me that since I was responsible for the rings at the time and now they're lost, they would be firing me. But since they had no proof as to whether I stole the rings, they wouldn't press charges, which scared the out of me, as this is the first time I heard of them thinking of this. I go back to the warehouse, tell Kay and the other warehouse clerks what just happened, grab my personal belongings, and left that day. After a couple weeks of trying to get my head around what happened and weighing my options, I decide my first priority is to try and get some sort of job, and consider it lucky if I get a job flipping burgers with the bad rep when they ask Company B. I call the owner of Company A to get a good reference from them and explain what happened and why I was calling, only to get the shock of a lifetime. The manager position was about to be open. The guy who I lost the position to was retiring soon due to complicated health reasons. Owner had kept tabs on me while at university and understood when I didn't immediately come back to him. But with a golden opportunity like this, he wanted me back and I wasn't going to say no. Oh, thank God. I thought it was going to be something bad. I dive into the new job I originally wanted with an owner I enjoyed working for. I thought then and there everything would be behind me, not knowing it would come back not only to bite me, but to pay dividends. The revenge. Kay's side. This I found out after Butthead's reckoning. After I was fired, Kay knew she had to do something about Butthead. Kay knew I wouldn't lose or steal something like the rings, but also knew that without proof, Butthead would deny she did it and have Kay in her crosshairs to attack next. So after talking with her husband, she hatched a plan. She started hanging out with Butthead, telling her things like, I'm so glad he's gone, or wish he had been fired much earlier. Head, feeling high from getting rid of one of her thorns in her side, soaked it all in, and after a couple weeks invited Kay and Kay's husband, from now on KH, for drinks at her place, with her and Head's husband. Months passed. Kay and Kay's husband do things regularly together with Head and Head's husband, including drinking on weekends and couple-related events. Ooh, she's playing the long game. When together, Kay would occasionally badmouth me, and Head would agree. Finally, after a year of playing nice, when Kay and Kay's husband were over at Heads for one of their drinking parties, Kay randomly badmouthed me, mentioning the rings in passing. Then Head said something that Kay was waiting for. I wanted those rings, so I stole them. Big mistake. Kay, hearing this, asks for more details. Kay's husband looks at her, tries to wave her off with one hand, then gives up when Head keeps talking. That day, Head had stopped writing her email and was going to put the rings in the safe. The safe was open, and she was about to put the rings away when Head had an idea. See, as mentioned above, Head wanted me gone from Company B. She also wanted those rings. She also knew that the cameras weren't working. She figured that she could pocket the rings, tell the manager they were missing, and spin it so I would take the blame. Kay then asks, where are the rings now? And Head, being too drunk and not seeing a reason not to brag, not only tells her, but shows her where they are in her room. All while Kay's husband had been recording the whole conversation. Goody. I went to grab this drama and squat. Kay gives a copy of the recording to manager the next workday. Police are called immediately. Head is arrested and her house is raided. They find the rings. Kay and Kay's husband give the recording and testimonies to police. Head's reckoning has begun. Part 2 of the long-awaited revenge. I get a call from the prosecutor's office. After Head is arrested and charged with theft over $5,000, among other things. He wants me to testify about what she did to me. I didn't skip a beat in saying yes. Fast track to the trial. Prosecutor has me, Kay, and KH's husband testify and plays the recording of Head admitting that she stole them. Her attorney tries to throw out the case, saying Kay got Head deliberately, but Judge didn't buy it, since there was proof she drank all the time. Judge was lenient and gave her 5 years in prison, which she yelled was unfair, but I personally thought she got off easy. Meanwhile, as the trial was happening, I was talking to a lawyer to sue Head for setting me up like she did. Oh my, you're just not letting her get up for air, eh? We were also going to sue Company B for wrongful termination, but they settled the day they got notice of the lawsuit and knew they would lose. Head wasn't so lucky. They tried some trickery by having Head's husband divorced her and he received everything in the divorce, but my lawyer added him into the lawsuit as well. My lawyer asked overall for $3,500 in emotional distress, back pay from when I was fired until I started working for Company A again, and legal fees. And now you're probably wondering what the metaphoric cherry on top was. Oh, yes, of course. On top of this delightful Sunday of revenge. Well, recently, we had someone leave Company A, so we were hiring someone to replace them. Owner was going over the resumes and set up interviews for the job this week. Lo and behold, Head was one of the people to apply, but he didn't know that. Please tell me you interviewed Head. I looked at the resume and was about to trash it, then smiled. Owner set up the interview. She came in at her slotted time, looking to brown nose her way through. Then she saw me. I smiled an evil smile, and she went white. All I said was, Head, how are you? Remember me? A deer in the headlight look from her. I look at her resume and say, I'm sorry, I do not think you'll be a good fit for our company. Thank you for applying. She said not one word and left. A delicious pro-revenge sundae with a cherry on top, my dear. You know, some people would just let it slide. It's not like you ended up unable to get a job afterward. You lucked out. You got a job that you were initially pining for. So most people would have been like, it's water under the bridge, you know what I mean? But not you. And not only you, but your friend Kay as well. The fact that Kay was moving in the shadows and waiting for the exact moment to strike, such a good friend. Justice was served.